Hello, welcome back to the Transfer Portal CFB podcast presented by NoContextCFB. The season is pretty much over. Like we're into bowl season now. That's odd. It was a very fun conference championship weekend plus FCS playoff weekend plus Japanese college football weekend, unless you're Green Dolphins diehards like Josh and I. In addition to having Josh on with us, we've got a new person with us today. I'll let him introduce himself.
All right. My name is John from CFB Talk Daily. I'm happy to be here. I can't wait to talk some UTSA.
Yeah, we might as well start with UTSA then, if that's where we want to head, to a good old Friday night clash in the Conference USA. UTSA North Texas was a pretty fun game.
Yeah, I actually I thought North Texas was actually going to cover. I was wrong per usual. So I was pretty impressed with UTSA though. They definitely played better than I thought, and now they have a matchup with Troy.
Mm-hmm. Like the thing with UTSA is not all year, but it's something that they did a bit last year. They've done it a decent bit this year. Is they'll get behind the eight ball and they'll just put themselves in a really bad spot where they've got to kind of scrap and claw their way to come back. And they played really good football in the second half and all, but that second quarter to really start pulling away from North Texas was massive. And my guy, Zachary Franklin, 3 touchdowns on the night, 10 for 144. I think the turning point in that game was when he caught his first touchdown. And it was really it's something I had tweeted out. I was like, UTSA, all they're doing right now is they're hitting the short passing game over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And they're running a bit, but they're not really going deep. So I was just waiting on them to take a shot deep to Zachary, and they did that. And I think from there, meet, they ran away.
Meet.
Yeah, this was a second screen game for me. And so every time I look down, it's like, hey, sorry about hey, but every time I look down, I'm like, oh, there goes Zachary. And I look up, look down again. Oh, there he goes again. And yeah, just biggest turning point was it was a little bit close in the first half, and then just right at the end of half, UTSA got a field goal. And then North Texas with a really quick 3 and out, and then UTSA got the ball again. And then they scored a touchdown. It's bang, bang right before half to go up 24-10. It's that was killer. That was basically it. So
Zachari's hands are just absolutely immaculate. And what he was doing last year was most of his stuff was really just highlight reel contested grabs. I'm on Sports Center week after week after week. This year, I think we've seen much more of a complete receiver. It's not just the guy last year where we saw carving slants over the middle and taking the defense off over the top. He has truly become a more complete receiver, getting work in the short and the intermediate game so much. The guy is a menace. I don't understand why there's not more NFL talk for this guy. And the quarterback throwing him the ball, Frank Harris, is a gem. I don't know why everyone was saying he's old. It's Austin Aune that's the old guy in that game. He's the 29-year-old. 23 is a normal age, Frank. You're not a boomer. You were balling in that game.
Yeah. Austin, for being 29, he also did not play great for being a 29-year-old playing against college players. I mean, he had 2 picks that were pretty killer, and then less than 200 yards passing. So he was not great.
UTSA's defense stepped up in a big way, and I mean, yeah, that's this UTSA team. They should have beat Houston, and Texas got away from them in the fourth quarter, and it's they played such a good season, and they lost so many key pieces. Like they didn't have Rashad Wisdom, who's the heart and soul of that defense. What Frank Harris is to the offense is what Wisdom is to the defense. They didn't have Mekhi Hart, who's a future NFL offensive lineman. They didn't have the Corian Clark, who has emerged as probably was the best wide receiver on the team this season before he tore his ACL. He became an NFL prospect. Like, they didn't have Brendan Brady. They didn't have so many guys. And for them to go out there and just crush it like they did in the conference championship game, back-to-back champs, Jeff Traylor's building something truly elite.
Yeah, and just back to Harris real quick. I thought last year, I mean, of course, it was a lot of sincere McCormick. Just give McCormick the ball. That was awesome. I thought Harris was like good. I didn't think he was great, but this season he showed he was great consistently. And he's a dude like, if Brock Purdy can be a backup quarterback in the NFL, Frank Harris, and I'm not like, this isn't like a knock on Harris, like, and this isn't really a knock on Purdy either. Well, kind of is, but Harris can legitimately be a good backup in the NFL.
100%.
Also, I'm just saying that because I just saw that Jimmy G is out for the rest of the season. So it's Brock Purdy has infiltrated the NFL fully, guys. Let's do this.
Wait, Jimmy G's out for the rest of the season?
Yeah, he broke his foot.
Dude, oh my God. So I'm a 49ers fan, but that's for another time.
My first thought goes to, okay, Nathan Rourke was trying out for NFL teams. San Francisco call up Air Canada and set that up, and you got Brock Purdy and Nathan Rourke in your quarterback room. But like, yeah, I agree. I think Frank Harris has played himself into like, fringe NFL talk. I think he's completely worthy of that. I think he's had an unfair label on his name these past few years and still this year, that label where he's like, he's a gamer and everything, but it's like guys just think he's like this tough kind of runner that doesn't really throw the ball so well. It's just such a weird label because this guy throws bucket ball after bucket ball after bucket ball. It's like my favorite thing to tweet off the Transfer Portal CFB account is a Frank Harris highlight with the bucket emoji because that's where every throw of his goes. These throws are pristine. They're super accurate. They've got great velo on it. Just, I don't know. Frank Harris is like a mastermind. He's been balling all year. Apologies to UTSA fans. I wasn't in our top three for LeBrennan. It ain't against him. It's just there were three other really good players. Tank Rashid Rice and Dwayne McBride were all nationally elite too. It was no slight to Frank. We're all huge fans. We all think he's elite. And Josh and I are telling you, like, that guy could play on Sundays. He's good enough to be there on an NFL roster. Here's the issue. A bit of an issue, non-issue for UTSA fans. Frank's returning. I think everyone on UTSA is going to return for another year. Think of how good UTSA is going to be in 2023 when they get Clark back, when they get Hart back, Wisdom, Frank Harris, Zakari maybe stays again. Like,
yeah, he might almost be the 29-year-old next year though. So he's going to be pushing that like 24. You're starting to get to that age.
Meet,
baby.
Meet. Also, they should be ranked higher. We'll talk about that later. Josh mentioned this was a second screen game for him. It was for me too, but I was still looking more at UTSA than I was at Utah SC until the second half. What was going on in Vegas? This was a significant just drop from a Lincoln Riley-led team.
I'll tell you what happened. The Grinch stole Christmas.
Gosh. Well, dude, I think that's a good thing to say. Like, it's a great line. If Andrew Easter said that, he's getting roasted for it. I know that, but it's just like all the players that played for Grinch, right, are all kind of, a lot of them are outspoken, and they're like, dude, he ain't really it, and then there's like media members that are kind of talking about Grinch, but then there's other people that are like, no. It's not on Grinch. This is on his players just failing to tackle. But like year after year after year, Grinch defense after Grinch defense after Grinch defense, what's the biggest issue? Guys can't tackle. That's on the coach. At what point does that blame get shifted to the coach? Like, what?
Yeah, I want to say it was 2019-ish. Everyone's like, oh, this Grinch defense, it's like average. It was like in the 40s instead of being in the hundreds. And it was like, oh, this is a great, or from the 60s. I'm like, oh, this is a great improvement. And I'm like, is it really? And then they just keep getting roasted, and then they're back to being bad again. Like, I thought that this USC defense just had to rely on blitzing a lot and just forcing turnovers. And the like turnover luck is a thing, but they also forced a lot of turnovers. But then this game is just like, it just comes back to bite you because you can't rely on that for an entire season. And at the worst time, it came back to bite them. I mean, we could go on into the Caleb Williams side of things, but like this defense caught like, and number seven, I don't know his name, but number 7 for USC consistently was just like on the wrong side of highlights, right? He's like, oh, I'm trying to tackle. Oh, I'm on the ground. Oh, I'm trying to tackle. Oh, it was bad. Number 7 for USC, like, dude, you're better than me. Everybody on the transfer portal, you're better than us as an athlete. But like,
whoa.
Oh, sorry, Andrew Drewster. Sorry, Andrew Drewster.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Andrew Drewster's got that
man,
dog, you know.
Bro, it's just, I mean, I'm sorry to pick on number 7, but he was like in like everything. But yeah, this USC defense, man, just make a tackle and maybe you don't lose by as much. And then you make 5 tackles, maybe you win the game. And I'm not even exaggerating. It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what Liam said is right. At what point, like, does tackling being a problem every single defense you're on become your problem and not the players? Because even at Oklahoma, his like the yards after catch and everything, it's just unbelievable. Every single time that like the first tackle is always broken against his defense.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, getting away from Grinch and Kalen Bullock, dude. If Caleb Williams doesn't get hurt so early, I still think SC wins. I really do. Dude, that poor kid could not move at all. I also thought there was no reason they should have been in that game at numerous points, especially on the final drive of the game when they're down 23. That was garbage. And I hated what Lincoln said. Every coach says it, like, it's just so bad. And it's something that we can't let. It's such a bad excuse. Like, oh, yeah, Caleb was telling me that he wanted to play. He wanted to play it out. Tough kid. Admire him for that. Dude, at what point do you, as the leader of this program, of this team that the SC has invested so much in, do you just sit back and say, I need to be the bigger man and get this guy out of the game? I brought him here. I'm setting up his future, right? If one thing goes wrong, if one hit goes wrong where Caleb is not able to move and he can't avoid something and his like career's in jeopardy, that's all on Lincoln. And it's not like, remember Tua Tagovailoa a few years ago at Alabama against Mississippi State was hurt and he was playing too and he really shouldn't have been. And then he had the hip thing started there. It's just like, at what point do you start prioritizing these kids' future? Caleb is going to try and go probably back to back. He's going to try and do the Archie next year. Why not like prioritize his health? Why not just realize you're down 23 late? I still think he should have been out even earlier than that. At least see what Miller Moss could bring to the table. He came in for one play and handed off, but like, dude, you're still going to try and make a playoff push next year. Prioritize that. Prioritize Caleb's health. I didn't understand. There was no reason he should have been playing.
Yeah, and I think Lincoln Riley said too, like, oh, Caleb Williams wouldn't let me take him out. Like, at some point, you have to be like, okay, I'm the head coach here. Like, you're coming out, you can't move. We're down 23 late in the game. Like,
it's such a garbage thing to say, and every coach does it. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter who is out there at quarterback. They're going to tell you that they don't want to come out of the game.
Yeah,
unless they physically can't walk. Like, I don't understand. It's a garbage talking point.
Yeah, I think that was also kind of Riley trying to be like, hey, it's kind of a Heisman thing. It's like, hey man, look at how tough this guy is, all this stuff, even though he kind of struggled. But again, like, Riley is the head coach, and I get that even before the final drive when Williams got taken out for Miller on like the 3rd down or whatever after he got sacked again. Like, they were only down 2 possessions and you score a quick touchdown, something. But it's like, at some point, dude, you just gotta see, like, you're not gonna come back. You just have to have a feel for the game and be like, okay. And like, just kind of even selfishly thinking, if this guy gets like seriously hurt at this point in the season, he's not going to be ready for next season either. It's like, that's what you were touching on, Liam.
Yeah, it's
So even if
scary
it's
to think
selfish or
about.
being unselfish looking out for Williams, it's like it's probably, man, you got to take him. But hey, to Williams' credit though, I'll give Williams credit, man. Dude, he was still gutting it out, man, and making some throws. Like that throw he made
Yeah,
on that fourth down or whatever, like the crosser where he's flat-footed because he had to be and still zipped it in there. Like,
He's
man,
a
that
freak.
was so awesome. That was one of those where you just have to sit back and laugh because, like, dude, that was art, man. That was art.
He's a freak and a warrior. He's so admirable and like I don't understand how much hate he gets. I really don't get it. I think he's a super likable dude. We obviously, saw and tweet about Duggan, and it's like that's not coming out of hate for Max. That was coming out of hate for college football fans that Williams has gotten this label that I don't know. I don't understand because Shahan was on with us too, and he was like, I haven't seen a player that gets so much hate as Caleb. Like, I haven't seen a guy that so many people hate unanimously. It's just weird because I don't know. I think he's super admirable. I don't know how you guys feel, but I love how he is
I
on and
think
off the
the
field.
transfer, I think the transfer of like following Lincoln Riley, who people aren't already the biggest fan of, kind of gives him like that bad rap, even though it's not
Yeah.
really him himself.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like whoever is in that spot would get that hate.
yeah, I mentioned it in our group chat that yeah, he's like he is a little bit arrogant, but it's like man, if I was as good as him, I would be a whole lot worse, man. I would be out there, I'd be stunting on people and like the things on the nails, the messages. I personally love stuff like that. I love guys who trash talk and stuff like that. Like I'm a Seahawks fan. I was a fan, still a fan of the Legion of Boom and how they were yapping and Williams does it, but also he just backs it up. So it's like
Yeah.
yeah, like you could be like Barry Sanders and just like score, hand the ball to the ref, and then just walk away. Or he can kind of stunt them a little bit, man. And he can stunt them. He can trash talk a little bit. And if that rubs some people the wrong way, oh well, he'll just go win his
Yeah,
Heisman and then come back next year and health and everything, he'll be good. Probably win another Heisman, hopefully, or at least be a finalist and then be a top 5 draft pick in 2020. Math is hard. 2024.
He gonna be top 2. I don't see it.
And he ain't 2.
Yeah, he's gonna be 1. That kid is special. And it was like what I said last week to Andrew Drewster, who was like taken aback by what I said until he actually realized I was not talking about talent or anything or play. Caleb and Dorian are so alike in their mannerisms and character on the field and everything. And now I think they're two likable guys, but a lot of people are gonna hate it. Oh well, can't do much about it. And then like going over to Utah's side, talk about a second half effort. It really started with that, middle to the end of the second quarter where those guys started balling and they were playing with a purpose.
Mhm. Yeah. Early on in the game, I wasn't really a fan of Utah's play calling, but it seems like in the late second quarter, it all started to click and like start to wear down USC's defense.
Yeah, it's that fabled middle 8. It's a real thing. And Utah dominated it because they took over and they had an 11-play touchdown drive. USC punted, and then they had the 14-play touchdown drive where I was ripping out my hair just watching this USC defense like not know how to get a third down stop. And then the biggest thing is that USC almost bowed up in the goal-to-go situation, and then Utah punched it, which was huge. And then from there, it just felt like USC just like they were defeated. It was only a 17-17 game, but after that, Utah just ran away with it. They kept hitting big plays. Again, USC didn't tackle, but to Utah's credit, they just kept doing stuff. Cam Rising, who coming to this game, he's been hurt too. He's been hurt the past few games, and it's been affecting him. He was still running. He took that massive shot. And thank goodness it wasn't targeting because that wasn't targeting. It's just a big shot. But he kept going, dude. I've been hard on Cam Rising, but there's man's a baller, dude. That was gutty. That was awesome for him in this Utah squad, man. Just back to nitty gritty Utah ball, which they haven't been this entire year, but they found it again.
No, and you speak to the middle 8, which Utah dominated 21-0. They win by 23. Just saying. But like, yeah, it was like something that I've talked about with Utah and their defense is outside of Clark Phillips III. I wasn't feeling that juice, that fire, that determination really all year long, right? We saw that. We finally saw that. And maybe it's because, and maybe it was sharks circling the water. And once Caleb showed signs that he wasn't himself, they started circling that water even more and they started closing in on the prey. And there was blood everywhere. It was clear as day. Then you kind of just look at it from the other side on SC's defense. These guys saw their leader go down on the offense, the guy that's supposed to kind of bail them out. That's kind of been that label. He's not shown to be himself, and there's kind of a direct correlation to SC's defense dismantling. It's like it was like, there were some bad Jenga pieces out there, but that thing was still holding strong. And then all of a sudden, it all fell apart, just like SC's playoff berth. They booted that. They botched this thing so hard.
Oh yeah.
Lincoln Riley, though, like, anyone got words on Lincoln? I'm curious.
To be honest, I feel like he didn't even call that bad of a game. Just the momentum shift in this game was just unreal. Like that middle eight, like in the first 10 minutes, it felt like USC was going to blow them away. And then once Caleb Williams got hurt, things just went really south really quickly for USC, and they never really stopped going south.
Yeah. I just think too that another key transfer who they lost because of injury, Travis Dye, him being out. USC has other running backs, Austin Jones, and they had another guy stepped up and played pretty well in Travis Dye's absence. But a lot of the times when the USC offense would stall this season, they're just like, all right, Travis, just go do stuff. And he would. And without him, it just really showed that, especially when Caleb was hurt, it's like this offense didn't have anything, which was really weird.
I feel like
they needed Travis.
Yeah, but I feel like the first thing I'll say with Lincoln is I am not a fan, and history has shown, of how he's been handling players who are hurt. It wasn't just the Caleb thing this year, dude. What happened when Jordan Addison went down earlier this year and was in serious pain, and Lincoln kind of just looking past them, and it's like, I'm not going to attend to the star that we flew out here, set up his future so nicely, help his family out, blah, blah. And we've invested in this good. Not going to show him any love, any support while he's going absolutely through and is hurt. I don't like that stuff. Got to be there for your players when they're going down, whether they're a star, whether they're your 53rd guy in the team. Go help them out. And then, I don't know. It's like Jordan Addison and Mario Williams. I felt like, both of them were unhealthy at points. I still feel like they should have been one of the top duos in the country when healthy, and I really didn't feel like that was true. I felt like they were activated in ways, but I don't think Jordan Addison ever got the volume that he truly deserved. This Bolitnikov winner truly deserved when he was healthy. I felt like Jordan should have been a bigger piece of their offense quite often. I contemplate why that wasn't happening. Get your dude the ball.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I feel like once Caleb Williams went down, they didn't really have an offense to go with. He was the offense, and they didn't really have okay, we get to go to Addison here, we can go to a running back here. The offense was pretty much let Caleb Williams cook every play, and once he went down, they didn't really have a system.
I know Voorhees obviously wasn't a factor in that game because we know he didn't play, but dude, how much did Caleb hide how bad that offensive line was with his legs? That offensive line was getting so much love for how well they played all year, and Caleb really kind of hid their weaknesses. I do feel we'll need to move on, but I do feel when Caleb goes down, his legs ain't a factor anymore. Let's figure out some other stuff. Let's get more pre-snap motion, guys in motion, hit them on quick hitters and stuff. Why these kind of lengthy plays that take a while to develop and having Caleb stand there in the pocket like a statue? I'm not with that stuff. When you're the golden boy that Lincoln Riley is, and you're that offensive mastermind that you claim to be, you got to figure it out on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before we go, just still though, shout out to Caleb, because with about 7 minutes to go in the game, they're only down 10, and they had just gotten to the red zone. And then if he was just a tick earlier on his throw on the interception, it's caught and they're inside the 10, and then they probably score, and then we'll see what happens from there. So, man, shout out to Caleb, man. Congrats on your Heisman, dude.
I can't say enough good things about Caleb. He's a special kid, tremendous athlete. I can't wait to see what he does next year, what he does in his NFL future. Guy is one of one. And again, credit to Utah. I'll eat my words. I really did think they deserve to be in the Pac-12 championship, but who cares now? The Pac-12 champs once again. I not guess. Okay. Last year's team was a lot better in my opinion, but this team was dang determined. They played with a lot of heart, and Cam Rising was a dog when he needed to be. Jaquindon Jackson, stud. Nate Johnson looks like he's going to be a fun piece if he sticks there. Utah was real good. Excited to see what they do next year. We'll move on to Saturday because I guess we don't want to talk about Akron Buffalo, even though Buffalo earned bowl eligibility in the final minute against Akron.
Cole Snyder.
Kind of wild. Marcus Fuqua with the big interception and close. It was fun, but K-State TCU.
Dude, this game was a thriller.
It was the best game of the weekend. For FBS.
What was the best game of the weekend then?
Incarnate Word and Lindsey Scott Jr. just
Thank you. You're right.
Making NCAA 14 type throws. But back to this game.
You're right.
Hey, shout out to TCU for keeping it close, and that's all they have to do to make the playoff. But just like focusing on this game, man, they ran out of their magic, man. They just did. Eventually it does. Okay, hold on. I know we'll get to the touchdown and everything.
Magic.
I know. They came back, man. But I think the biggest thing was when they were driving down, and then like I looked away for a second to like grab something, and I looked up, and then Max Duggan threw like the worst throw to Quentin Johnson I've ever seen. It's like dude's 6'10", throw it high, and he kind of threw it, and the defender just like caught it in his chest. So that kind of killed it. And I mean, TCU still came back overtime, yada yada. But it's like, man, that one was a killer. That one hurt. But yeah, that game was awesome.
The Max Duggan overthrew so many passes yesterday. I'm not hating on him or anything. He played a really good game, heart of a lion, like absolute warrior. He truly left that all out there, but he overthrew a lot of balls yesterday. And if he's taking it off of some of those, like probably looking at a TCU win, because he had dudes open off and he was just throwing it up to the Jerry World Jumbotron.
And then on that one fade where he just massively underthrew it too.
That was so bad. That was so bad.
The ball was like 2 yards short. The throw was not good.
Man, I feel you get the OT too. Hypnotoad was working its magic as always, and I don't know. I hated the 3rd and 4th down play calls. I'm as big of a Kendre Miller fan as there is on this planet. He should not be getting the ball there back to back. You're basically an inch of grass away from taking that overtime touchdown lead. And
well, they should have been, but then the refs kind of spotted it weird.
Yeah, like, dude, you still just gotta sneak it to Duggan. Like, it's the best play in sports. And then just seeing, I don't know why all these defensive players are doing this, if they're trying to play some like weird mind games or something. But dude, JJ Watt should not be tweeting that the quarterback sneak is the best play in sports. Like, your own team's going to get dotted because of your 140 characters that you put out on the Twitter sphere. Like, dude, the QB sneak is the best play in sports. It is. It truly is. Why it's not being run there?
Yeah, the 3rd down run where it was the handoff, and it was weird because even on like the TV angle before they showed the above angle, it's like there's some space to the left. If Duggan just like takes this and just like goes rogue and just goes right off the left side of his center, he's in. But because there was a gap there, but because the defense was like, all right, we'll fill it with our linebacker because our defensive line will take it, and then the linebacker will fill when the running back comes because they're anticipating a handoff. If Duggan just takes it by himself and goes rogue, he scores. And it's not like they'd yell at him for going rogue. Like, he's a smart player. he trusts his guys. It's the same run blocking. It's just without the handoff.
Mhm.
Like, not to go back to an ancient game, but in the Ice Bowl with the Packers, that's what Bart Starr did. It was a handoff play, and Bart Starr's like, well, also like the field was being bad. He's like, I'm just gonna sneak it because like it's the same thing, but it's just quicker. If Duggan just sneaks it there, it's in. Even though also Miller might have been in. I don't know.
I
feel
think
like
he was. I do think he was.
Yeah, I think he was in too.
I literally don't know. Because it was like almost as he was as the ball was like getting across the line, it got knocked out by his teammate's foot, by the way, which was just like unfortunate luck. But like, I literally don't know.
I don't
That
know. It
one
was
was
so
crazy.
ballsy for him to reach out for that. But I did think live and on replay, like I did think he got in there. I did think it was over the play and
Yeah, me
everything. But I also don't feel like whoever the Kansas State player was that was in that pile and was kind of just like waving up, nobody realized that. Like my brother had to point it out to me, but still, like whoever that was had an incredible moment there, and nobody saw the poor guy waving. Like that got overlooked.
Hey, the shout out to Leo for like always finding the random stuff, man.
That was on Lukey. That was on my brother. I didn't see it live, but I'll have to go send that to our group chat after we finish this up so y'all can see it. But another thing I want to point out was TCU's play calling. I didn't love. I thought this was one of the worst called games of the season. I'm an advocate for Garrett Riley. I think he's someone that truly could end up being better than his big brother Lincoln. I think he's just I just felt like he was a bit cowardly in this game, and I feel like I know again, Duggan missed a lot of throws. There were a lot of like dialed up plays and everything. I don't feel like Kendre Miller got the ball enough. I don't feel like Kendre Miller has ever been activated in the receiving game like he's needed to all year long. When you get that guy the ball in open space, he's going to do wicked things after a catch, after contact. I would look to get him the ball more in the receiving game, especially with Duggan's overthrown a bunch. But I just don't feel like they got Kendre the ball a lot. Even DeMercado, I'd have run him a few more times. I felt like Kansas State had three men up front a lot. I don't think TCU took advantage of that at all.
Are either of you guys looking at the box score of this game?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so I mean, Liam, if you saw it, guess how many receptions Quentin Johnson had?
I'm not gonna guess.
Okay.
I know the answer.
Yeah, yeah. He like I thought because they threw it to him a bit and they did like call like I was jokingly call it the pass interference offense, throw it up to him because he's bigger, and they kept getting yards. He only had 4 receptions though.
Yeah.
4 receptions for 139 yards. Like that's incredible. So it's like just and also plus that and plus the pass interference, just throw him the ball more.
Which
throw it in his direction. And I know
been an issue all year with him is the inconsistency, which isn't on him entirely. It's on the offensive play calling and Duggan and everything. Like to get on that page and be like, yo, Quentin's a special guy. Whether I think he should be a round one player or not, he's going to be most likely. You gotta get this guy a ball. He's an absolute freak of nature in the world of college football. 34.8 yards per catch, like Josh said. You got to get him the ball more than 4 times when you're in the Big 12 championship. And at that very moment, there was still uncertainty if you would be in the college football playoff or not. There was always uncertainty until we saw number 3 TCU because we know what the committee could do. But yeah, you got to get the ball to Quentin more than 4 times. I don't know. It was that inconsistency that we saw all year long. It just felt like he never got the ball enough.
Yeah, I feel like even though Duggan played poorly, though, he did have that one drive where he was like Vanilla Vic, and I feel like he did enough for them to win. Just that overtime play call was just, I think that's what sunk them mostly, to be honest, because they were in it until that point.
Yeah, it's like it was just a very underwhelming called game. I'll say that it's like there's just so many guys that TCU has. The speed, explosiveness, quickness, agility, burst, everything that they've got. Darius Davis, let's find ways to get him the ball more, like Tay Barber. I didn't love the calling of that game. I really didn't.
I mean, as someone who picked Kansas State, I was thrilled with how
Good
Kansas
job.
State called their game. Shout out to Kansas State.
They did a great job.
Yeah, and like I can't even say like I had an X's and O's thing or feel. I was just like I looked at the previous matchup. It was pretty close. I'm like, all right, vibes. Let's go.
Vibes.
Let's roll Wildcats, man. And like just all game too. It never felt like I know TCU came back, but it's not really like that Kansas State choked it. It's more like TCU just woke up. Like
Mhm.
Kansas State they didn't look like, oh, we're the underdog. They're like, oh man, we're the better team. We're gonna play good. And I'll shout out to another running back, Deuce Vaughn. Holy cow.
The
Oh my,
ankles that he
the ankles.
snatched.
I screamed. That was and one mixtape type stuff, man.
I
That dude
think I
is
said
so cool.
when he snatched those ankles, I think when he got to like the 12-yard line, all he kept saying was, "That's so bad. That's so bad. That's so bad. That's so bad." Like that poor DB is on a mixtape for the rest of his life. He got
He
dunked
got
on.
cooked. Yeah, he got boomed.
That's the college football. That's the football equivalent of a posterization. I guess what we do
He
now,
was
we
nowhere
like
even close to a
NFT
tackle.
GIF it or something.
Yeah,
He's cooked. K-State it was an incredible game for them. And I think one thing I want to point out, their kicker, Ty Zentner, when he goes out there to kick the game-winning field goal, the smile on his face before he even got close to his positioning of where he's going to kick, he's jogging out onto the field and he's smiling like he just won a Super Bowl. The confidence that kid has. Hashtag college kickers. When college kickers aren't missing, they're making great content. I guess they are when they miss too, but you get the point.
And shout out to Will Howard too. He didn't like play. It wasn't like an amazing, outstanding game, but just every time they needed a throw, he made it. Every time they need to run, he lumbered along and he got it. It was crazy, but it's like he'd always take off. Like there's no way he makes this 3rd and 5 first down, and he just like just got there. Like man, just ever since Will Howard like really became their starter, like Adrian Martinez was really good for what they were running, but then Will Howard came in. And Will Howard's the better quarterback.
Yes.
And if Will Howard had been starting from game 1, I'm not saying Kansas State's undefeated and going to the playoff, but this game might have had even more consequences if Will Howard's the starter. But that's all.
As someone who picked Tulane to beat K-State, weird flex, yeah, whatever, and watched every second of that game on ESPN Plus. Isn't it funny, by the way, to think of 2 conference champions played a non-conference game early in the year in September that was on ESPN Plus? Kind of wild. Dude, if Howard was playing that game and he had a few games under his belt already, even just a game under his belt, they win that game. They had nothing cooking on offense the entire time. Tulane was so keyed in on Deuce. They were trying to let AJ Martinez be him, and he could not do it at all. Martinez has the better nickname in 9 a.m., but he ain't better than Mr. Howard.
All right, do you want to move on to Toledo, Ohio?
Well, yeah, we could. Toledo, Ohio did not live up to the Liam hype, and that is in due part to how we're doing Maction championship games now. It should not be at 9 a.m. Pacific on a Saturday. This needs to be let's go. Let's not even do Friday night. Let's do Thursday night. Let's do Wednesday would be Super Mac or Tuesday, but let's just do Thursday night, like 4:30 Pacific time, prime time on Thursday night. Ain't nobody care about the NFL game that's on Amazon Prime. We want to watch the MAC championship. That's where it needs to be. It was a 17-7 final score, and I gotta be honest, it did not feel like 24 points were scored. It felt like 6 were scored.
Yeah.
It was the most anti-MAC game in history. I felt bad for Ohio. I know 1,000% that this team wins that game if the Maple Missile never went down. If Curtis Ork was playing, they win that game 100%. I still think CJ Harris is a good quarterback, but like he didn't have a good game. I think the difference in this game was Ohio, their defense, who was so good all year and they're so experienced. They just had a few guys go down. Like, dude, Torrey Cox is going to be an NFL DB. But man, these guys could not handle Daquan Finn and his athleticism and speed, and that was the difference. Daquan was just able to run all over them. and make plays with his feet, and that was the difference.
Yeah, I wasn't able to catch this game because I had too many screens.
It was on your ninth
yeah,
screen.
too many screens are bugging out. But I found a full game replay, and so just the biggest thing was just the flow of the Ohio offense was just off.
Mm-hmm.
When Harris came in, was that against Bowling Green, right?
No,
Or
it was
Ball State and then Bowling Green.
against Ball State, yes, because
Yeah,
Carson Steele also got hurt in that game, and then
yeah.
Rourke got hurt the next drive, and I was like, "This is the worst night match in history."
Yeah, that and then when he started the Bowling Green game, they use Harris's legs a lot, and I was anticipating them. Okay, like he's a fine thrower, but like I feel like just lead on his legs. He's really good at it. And then he only got, I know there were sacks and stuff over there, but find the box score, 6 rushes for 12 yards. Just use him more. There were just a lot of times where like they had him be a typical just drop back passer. It's like he's not that guy. And on the other side, Finn came back, wasn't like 100% healthy. You could tell that on a few of his runs, but he was more than healthy enough. And that was the difference. He just avoided a sack here, made a guy miss there, rolled out here, and that was enough. And a really boring game, but hey, like shout out to Toledo, man. Like Jason Candle keeps getting a bunch of flack for they're always really good, but they like don't win enough for comparatively to like what they should be doing. But hey, what's it like? It's like 2 MAC titles in 4 years or 5 years, something like that. That's pretty good.
That's hard to do in the MAC. Yeah, I guess I should have went with my gut that said in August Toledo's gonna win the MAC. I should have picked them to win this game, but I'm terrible at game picks and picked Ohio. Yeah, whatever. I completely agree with Josh. Ohio needed to use Harris's legs more. They needed to get that kind of option game going a bit more, use the perimeter and just kind of unlock your offense that way. And then you'll be able to throw the ball downfield to Wiggless and everything. But it was just a mediocre game both ways. Both defenses were pretty good. That was Toledo's calling card after Finn got hurt. Was their defense was super good. It was last year too. And yeah, credit to Toledo. MAC champs, go to Disney World. Earned it. What game is next? UCF Tulane.
Yeah, that or Troy, Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, I mean Tulane, like they were the class of the AAC, whether me, you, we, or they, or whoever wanted to admit or not. They're the best team in the conference all year long.
Shout out to the Green Wave for like of course like if you go back and look at their history for like almost getting rid of the program, killing the program in like the 30s. This team could have legitimately been 1-2 right there with LSU in Louisiana, like if they would have started from way back when. But hey, like after 1998, getting that Conference USA title, they won one again, and it was every time again, multiple screens. Every time I looked, oh, there goes Tulane. They're just running down the field again in those amazing baby blue uniforms. Oh no, there they go again. Just another big play running down the field. It was big plays, and UCF made it close, but like even when I think it was like 28-31, it never felt like UCF was gonna win. It's like Tulane just gonna roll them. Tulane has this.
I felt like UCF overachieved this year. I think 9-4 is a really good record for what this team was. I don't think they were like I really don't feel like they were a conference championship contender, even though like yeah, they were a game away, 17 points away, whatever. But I never really felt of them that way. And Josh, Tyjae Spears over and over and over and over and over again. What that kid has been able to accomplish in the last half of this season, really all season, just what was it? In 2020, he went down with the ACL tear, and or is it in 2019? Whenever it was, I think it was 2020. And he ended up like contemplating retirement because of how awful his ACL tear was. And for him to look this good and smooth on a football field just a few years later is wild. Anything else on this game?
I just think. Do you think Willie Fritz is going to be Tulane's coach come tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
You think so?
Wow. Where do you think he's at?
I don't know. I saw there's a school in the ACC that's announcing their AAC, Cincinnati.
Dude, those are the moves I hate. I hate moves like that. I won't trip over it though. I won't talk too much about it. Tulane, like, yeah, this team went 11-2. Probably should have been
Mhm.
12-1. They should have beat. Yeah, the Kansas State one's incredible. They're the better team in that game. There was no reason to lose to Southern Miss.
No,
How
not at
did
all.
they lose to Southern Miss? This team should have been 12-1.
Wait,
They should have,
was it this year? Was it
yeah.
this year where Southern Miss had their that depth chart where it had like QB and there was like 7 players that said or?
It was last year, but they were still doing that stuff this year. They were still using like Frank Gore Jr. was chucking that thing all the time. I don't know. Troy Coastal was unfortunately a snoozer.
Uh,
Troy got out there quick and they never looked back. It feels like maybe McCall wasn't ready and Chadwell's departure
checked
for
out.
Liberty just crushed the heart and soul of the team, which makes sense. It felt
Yeah, I
like
feel
a
like there's
team of
like a dark
ghosts.
cloud. Yeah, I feel like there's like a dark cloud over the game. Like no one was talking about it, but everyone kind of had that feeling that like he was gone after the game.
That's just such a like another move I just don't like. And he's probably gonna take McCall to Liberty, and that hurts. But
You sound so hurt about this.
I am, dude. He was building something so nice at Coastal. If he was gonna leave, like, why couldn't he have got the Georgia Tech job or like something else that's cool? Like Liberty, really? Whatever. Troy, outstanding season.
Oh yeah. In
Troy
this game,
11-2.
they were up like what 31 to I think 10 at some one point, Troy.
This
Like,
game was not close. They were up
yeah, they
31
came out
nothing.
firing. Yeah, they had
Yeah,
31-0. They came out firing like on all cylinders.
they played a dang near perfect game. I mean, Gunnar Watson threw for 318 and he only threw the ball 17 times. And like Coastal limited the run game too. It was just big plays in the passing game, field position too. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say on that. Troy's defense was stellar once again. The 26 points that Coastal scored really don't tell the story at all.
Hmm.
Um, let's bounce to Fresno State, Boise State. Felt like this game didn't deliver either.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was I thought like colder weather, Boise State run the ball, you're at home, you've got Taylor Green, just a great athlete. Can't really throw yet. Can't really pass yet. He can throw, can't really pass yet. And instead it was just Fresno State just stepped up and just Jake Haener just doing Jake Haener things. And like the biggest thing was that punt return for a touchdown for Fresno State really swung things. And then after that it was just like it just felt like Fresno State was just like keeping Boise State just at arm's length, just doing enough, and they got their win. Like shout out to Fresno State, man. If Haener doesn't go down, like they would probably have a even crazier better year. And to be on a lot
Yeah,
more people's radars.
Yeah, they don't lose to UConn.
yeah, I was really impressed by Jordan Mims. I think he's a Fresno State's running back. He impressed me in this
Mm-hmm.
game a lot. Um, yeah, I can't believe this team lost to UConn.
Crazy to think about. Um, I want to touch on Boise State. This was look, Taylor Green has been improving in his throwing game week after week after week. That progress just didn't show on Saturday. It wasn't there. He struggled a lot. He wasn't reading the defense at all. He was making ill-advised throws in the triple coverage, double coverage, whatever. I felt like you got to realize that when this game was so close so often until Fresno State pulled away, I felt like Boise State needed to activate Talon and his legs more and rely on that and try and win that way. George Alani, Ashton Shanti, like they've got studs in the backfield. This should have been all out running attack. I didn't love their game plan. Fresno State though, the king was back, man. Jake Hayner's the king. He's got his throne. Where is that team without Jake Hayner's return? Like 4 or 5 wins in their Mountain West champs. All right. We'll move along then. I guess no one else has anything to say. Like, all good, all good. Oh, word. LSU
Oh
Georgia.
no, sorry. I had to go to the. Sorry.
LSU Georgia had 8 points scored. Who had that happening?
You talking about Georgia?
Yeah, LSU Georgia 80 points. Ain't nobody see that coming.
I'm
That
not gonna
was
lie. So this is the first game of the afternoon. I had this game on my main TV. I found this game really boring, to be honest. Which is I don't want to catch flack for it, but
No,
I
I
just felt like
agree.
I felt like it was never really close. Like LSU was scoring, but Georgia was always in control.
Yeah, this was the opposite of the Georgia Tennessee game where Georgia got out to a comfortable lead and then just like sat on Tennessee. This was, hey, we're gonna run up the score on you because like Georgia was still throwing to their gigantic tight ends, and probably I honestly think it was a little bit of, hey, let's get Stetson like one last chance to make a Heisman push kind of thing, but kind of just
Mm,
also let's just run up the score and let's have some fun. And like
Which
yeah.
they needed to do.
yeah, they did because LSU was coming back. Shout out to Nussmeier for looking pretty good. But
Mhm.
and then before anyone says anything, like the reason Daniel started the entire season is because he can move. Nussmeier can't really move, but like Nussmeier is the better thrower. But anyways, just back to Georgia. Just it was. I mean, it was over as soon as LSU just forgot how to play special teams,
What was
and the
that?
Oh
Georgia
my
guys
God,
just
that play was ridiculous.
again multiple screens. So I had this game on mute at this point, but the kick got blocked, and I just see the guy standing there, and I'm like, he's gonna pick it up because he's waiting, and he's just like standing there, just crossed over it, picks it up, and just goes. And I'm like, guys, not one LSU player shows up into the frame until like dude gets to the 10-yard line right before he scores. It's like, just be aware, just because usually you see teams like when a kick is blocked, they at least like kind of fan out to prevent like a return from happening. They're just LSU's like, yeah, all right, walk back to the sidelines,
The
and like,
camera angle was terrible for it because all we saw
Yeah,
was really like Chris Smith hovering over the ball essentially, and we didn't have anyone in the picture on LSU. And like, where were they? I guess on the bench.
yeah, they
no,
just walked away.
it's I this was just a game where I just kept laughing because like George just was like, all right, when Jalen Carter picked up Jalen Daniels, I'm like, all right, yep, that's how this game is. You're just gonna pick him up, hold
Yeah,
his
that
hand up in the
was,
sky in celebration, just like he's carrying a little baby, and then just like gently place it down. And like, all right, we're good. That's how the game was. Just Georgia's a wagon times 1,000. That game, like boring, yes, because it wasn't really ever close, but it was
mhm.
just fun to laugh at. It was just fun to laugh at how just insanely dominant Georgia is. Like again, they're probably gonna run through and win another championship. And shout out to them for building a
Like,
machine.
it's about time though that they played like this, man, because I've been so just disappointed in the Samford game, the Kent State game, the Kentucky game, just there's the Missouri game. Like,
Missouri
Hey,
game. Yeah,
hey, that is bowl eligible Missouri for you. Thank you very much.
and that's FCS giant Samford that we'll talk about a little later. But I don't know. It's just like it was about time that Georgia put their nuts on the table and said we're the top dog. It was about time.
yeah.
If they would have done it from the beginning, from game one, Stetson Bennett legitimately might be the Heisman winner. And I'm not joking.
Yeah. But what we gotta do is we gotta have a Heisman, and then we've gotta have a Heisman for seniors. And I'm not talking like the senior class. I'm talking like AARP kind of seniors. Like that Stetson gets that high. So we should like create an award for that where Stetson would have been there, Austin Ani would have been there,
Austin
and
Ani would not have been there.
and every Australian punter would have been there as a finalist
I know.
for
Yeah, the 25 years and up Heisman.
yes.
Hendon Hooker would have qualified, right? He's 25. He's old. I know that.
24, 25, wherever he is.
Yeah.
What we could have done is, we could have done that. And instead of like having it in New York, we do it like a Las Vegas buffet. And that's where the Heisman for seniors, that's where we have that celebration. It'd be sold out. Whether people were going for it or not, they'd be there.
I feel like we should be saving this. This should be content we should talk about in the off season. We should mark this down.
All right.
Yeah,
this
like a fake award show. Yeah.
No, we'll host it. We'll host
It's
it.
real. Like, dude, I'm in Vegas. We'll just go to a certain hotel and host
Yeah, just
it.
hand it out. Yeah, just hand it
Super
out.
easy. There's gonna be a lot of old people in attendance already. It's a good scene. We ain't going to the Golden Corrals of the world. New Mexico State over Valpo, by the way. Cool. That was fun. That's all the time we'll give you, New Mexico State. Bowl eligible. Fun stuff. Get into that later.
Did you know I have one thing to add on New Mexico State?
Okay.
Oh,
Did you
geez,
know
what?
their head coach still has not signed his contract?
Yeah.
Jerry Gill, yeah, it's been waiting for like months, and he still has not signed the contract. But he's coaching the team, so it's okay.
That's a weird program, man. All right, we're moving on.
It was, I don't know, lackluster night, which was expected with the two games we had, the Big Ten ACC championships, the Subway ACC championship between Clemson and North Carolina. Looked like it was going to be a bad game, but close until DJ Uiagalelei got taken out of the game and then entered a transfer portal. But
I would just like to put the rest. If Cade starts week 1, I don't think it changes that much for Clemson. Because Cade is really good. But then again, he showed it. And I know he's coming in off the bench cold against Notre Dame, but he just throws a really awful pick. He comes in against, what's that, Syracuse? He threw like 2 passes or 3 passes and completed 1.
mm-hmm.
And without a really bad late hit out of bounds on a run that he does on like 3rd and long, where he's like 10 yards short of the sticks, that gives Clemson life.
Yeah.
Clemson doesn't win.
I think it's interesting to see where he could have taken them if he started the Georgia Tech game, right? And like started as a true and like just started from the jump, right? But he wasn't ready until this game. This was the first game all year that I think we could all confidently say Cade Klubnik arrived on the college football scene. Like, yeah, he came in against Georgia Tech and brought juice, and that was fun and stuff, but he wasn't ready then. Maybe it's in due part to playing a defense as awful as UNC's, but he showed that he was ready for the stage. And I can't wait to see what he does in the orangiest Orange Bowl in college football history.
I like that Mac Brown said,
the worst thing I've ever read.
Yeah. What did he say? Something like, we did that they were going to switch quarterbacks, so we weren't prepared for it. Like, they've done it like 3 games in a row.
I'll find bar for bar what he said. I could not believe it is something I was just speechless about.
It was so terrible.
Vince Young should get even more credit for winning Texas that national championship, considering what Mac Brown
He said they didn't prepare for Klubnik because Clemson hadn't changed QBs all year, planned for DJ and didn't think he would be able to throw well. Well, you got that scouting report, right? That's exactly what we thought would happen and we're hoping would happen. Said Cade played excellent. Did not want you had a better shot. You had a shot of winning that game if DJ played the whole thing. Like, what is Mac Brown smoking?
Well, the worst part is he said they hadn't changed quarterbacks. Like the last 3 games, Cade Klubnik has played. Like
the first game of the season, they changed quarterbacks on the fly. Well, I don't understand what Mac Brown is thinking. It just goes to show these last few years. Yeah, they've won games, and Mac is like, I like Mac and everything, but dude, if someone else is out there coaching, if someone else is your OC and your play caller, you've really got something. Like Sam Howell and Drake May were truly just let down by the supporting cast.
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, Mac Brown, like, look at the talent he's brought in overall. Like, he's raised the floor at UNC, but the ceiling is it's not necessarily that he lowered it. It's just they're not going to reach it with the talent that he's bringing in.
No, it's like it's a replication of the Sam Howell teams. Like, and this is why, like, I'll just quarterback's probably going to hit the portal, and who knows where he'll go. But I think that's the heavy expectation is that he's going to hit the portal because why would the second best quarterback prospect in the country that some are going to say is better than Caleb, why would he stay at UNC?
Colorado.
So trade in UNC for CU? Okay.
For Coach Prime.
Okay. Shedeur Sanders has quarterback competition. That's a good way for Deion and Shedeur to enjoy dinner tomorrow night.
I am
Jake, what else do you think?
scrambling. We're filling time. Drake May, his recruiting. There's a bigger list, but other teams who recruited him, I'm just on the 24/7 site. Louisville, Georgia, Clemson, and Alabama. And
Mhm.
Alabama, I mean, it says recruited by Steve Sarkisian and also Charles Kelly. I don't know if Kelly's still there. And I know Sark isn't there, but can you imagine just Drake May just like hops on over to Tuscaloosa to replace Bryce Young? That's it. Kyler said in our chat, like the dynasty isn't over, or the dynasty is never over. Like, because I feel like he's gone, man. Just like the way May was talking about it. Like
I
he was just
feel
so
like he's as good
non-committal.
as gone too.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I
If
think
I'm him, there's no reason I'm staying there, especially with what just went down Saturday night. Seeing what
exactly.
happened in the Sam Howell era and in Sam Howell's draft year, how much of a dip that there was. I don't want to stay there. I want to go
yeah.
to the best spot for me, and the best spot ain't UNC, and they need seriously consider coaching changes.
Yeah, I think he'll probably transfer too. I mean, maybe when Stetson Bennett finds his retirement home after the season, maybe Drake May could fill in there.
I think Hudson Card is maybe a name that Georgia could look out for. I feel like good spots for Hudson Card would be Georgia or Washington, but let's talk about two teams that have neither to do with the other. I guess you could turn the M into a W though, and there's your Washington logo. But Purdue, Michigan, just like typical Michigan, the first half was Michigan football, and the second half was Michigan football.
And
It
Michigan's
was
like a very slow starter.
Yeah, they can't get out the gate.
just a non-starter.
Yeah,
They just
that's why TCU Michigan's going to be so interesting because TCU loves they're the comeback kids, and Michigan doesn't get going until the second half. And they like give teams head starts essentially, but teams can't take the advantage. Like that first half is going to be so interesting to me. But
It was Michigan 21, Purdue 13 coming out of halftime. But okay, it's close. Purdue's doing some things. You know, their passing game.
No, it was 14-13 at half.
Yeah. When they were passing their sorry. I jumped ahead. 14-13 at half. They're just when their passing game was working, like it was working. And they ran the ball a bit too much for my liking, Purdue did. But then Michigan comes out and immediately Donovan Edwards 60-yard run. And then touchdown by Mullings. And then that was kind of it because Purdue kept kicking field goals. And I know like the first one was defensible, but after that, it's like, I don't care if it's 4th and 49. You have to go for it because you are the underdog. You're trying to somehow make a Rose Bowl. And like, at least just keep it a game. O'Connell's playing fine enough. Charlie Jones is just dominating and making ridiculous catches. Why are you kicking field goals?
Charlie Jones is unbelievable.
Stop kicking field goals.
The
it was Iowa out
wonders. There. The walk-on wonders with O'Connell and Maccabee and Charlie Jones. But dude, Charlie Jones is incredible. I know.
Oh yeah.
I know. 13 for 162. He's great. Does that not scare you for Michigan's secondary though? Potentially looking down the road, whether it be against TCU or rematch with Ohio State or Stetson Bennett, that like let's just look ahead to TCU real quick. But their vertical passing game that they do have, does that not like put some fear into you as someone that maybe says Michigan wins that game handily?
Oh, I don't think Michigan wins it handily at all because again, like you're talking about, TCU goes deep and they can't successfully, and they have speed, and just also, JJ McCarthy will either make a ridiculous, amazing throw, or he will throw a really bad interception like he did in the game. And it's just Michigan, because also they like to keep it close. They will just their style of play on offense and defense is just keeping it close, and then we will out talent you, which they did to Purdue. They kind of did to Ohio. They did to Ohio State, and they've done to everybody else. But you can't really do that against TCU because TCU will keep gunning it. They'll keep gunning it. Max Duggan will just keep running around and making plays. It's a weird offense.
So interesting.
Yeah. It's just like TCU's offense is just kind of weird. Like it's vertical, but also it's just kind of like Duggan just do things. And I don't know if Michigan's prepared to see something like that.
It's a fascinating matchup. And if Michigan dares look ahead, which Harbaugh's too good of a coach to let him do that. We got a dang good ball game on our hands, but I guess we could kind of recap the FCS slate real quick and then get into some bowl previews and playoff stuff. But I don't know, in the FCS, it was chalk. All the top 8 seeds advanced, and that's kind of boring.
Yeah, like I kept checking in on these games, and it was like, all right, like there were games were good. Like again, Incarnate Word just being out there doing
So
things,
good.
so good. But like also, it's like kind of like favorites just swept it. So, but again, still really fun football. That was a lot of fun. And I mean,
Yeah.
shout out to my quickly adopted Sacramento State Hornets because that's awesome. I love the color scheme. I love Scatterboo picking up their first ever playoff win. That was really cool.
Too bad I picked Richmond in the upset show. They had it. They blew it.
Hey, in real life, spiders eat hornets.
Okay.
Actually, wait, hold on. I think hornets do eat spiders.
Wait, what?
I know some.
I'm not
gonna Google
I'm
this.
not
Keep
on
talking.
National Geographic, dude. I just think Richmond kind of blew that game, but I want head coach Taylor. I want him at the FBS somewhere, head coaching the team. I think he's a dog. Montana too. They made that close against NDSU, and Drewster was in the building for that. He could not speak highly enough about North Dakota State and the dudes that they've got and the run game that they've built, the offensive line play. Cody Mauch, he says, is even better in person than he is advertising. I've been advertising the heck out of him all year long. So I don't know. Cody Mauch might just be different. Sanford, Southeastern Louisiana was really fun too, but SELA threw away their chance in overtime. They're going in for a score. They're going in for a score in overtime, and they had a fumble, and the ball bounced so perfectly awkwardly. It was like going out of bounds, and then like I don't know. I don't know how that ball stayed in bounds, and Sanford recovered, and then they scored a touchdown and won it. I don't know how it happened.
That fumble was so heartbreaking because I didn't have a dog in the fight, but you don't want to see a team lose like that, man. They're right there. They're gonna pound it and they're gonna go up a touchdown. And instead, Sanford gets the ball. It was like literally the ball bounces one other way and it goes out of bounds or they get the ball back. Instead, it's just turnover.
I didn't know a ball could bounce like that.
It was killer.
I think probably the highlight though of the FCS slate, if it wasn't Lindsey Scott's like out of this world throw, was the poor Twitter accounts aren't allowed to tweet a bunch of clips out, which just stinks and is lame FCS rules for playoffs. But William and Mary's Twitter, they were just drawing up elite content, literally drawing up stick figures and saying these are our highlights.
Hey, William and Mary people, hop on our logo drawing competition.
Oh shoot! Wait, we should
probably
invite them. That's a good idea. We need to invite them. We need to invite them. Maybe okay. We'll have to set that up. But
write this down.
I think Darius Wilson's a legit FBS quarterback that needs to be, in the portal the second the season ends. I'm sorry, William and Mary, but dude, Wilson, y'all saw those highlights on Twitter. Zoom. The highlights, the drawings tell the whole story. Wilson's a dog. Needs to be in the FBS. I don't know. I had a lot of fun though watching the FCS. Even the Holy Cross New Hampshire game was a messy thing of beauty. It was a downpour of rain. Someone had a giant umbrella. I didn't know that umbrellas were sold that large, and that was a messy game. But looking ahead to next week, you have very quality college football to watch on Friday night. There's 3 games and 2 of them are on national television. You need to watch them.
And I think that's just the biggest thing is just unfortunately these games don't get put on national television because they get bumped off for the FBS. But there are legit, of course, there are like all over the place. There are legit, really, really good teams that if they were FBS teams, they'd be winning.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that there's not enough spaces. and they're gonna get national television. People are gonna turn on for the first time and be like, "Oh, what's happening here?" It's like we know what's up. Shout out to the FCS, man.
What?
Just elite content the entire year.
So on Friday, you have a standalone game starting at 4 Pacific. That's Samford, who's 11-1. Their lone loss this year is 33-0 or whatever to Georgia. Look what their defense was able to do against the Dogs. And now you're going to the Fargo Dome. You're playing a 10-2 NDSU team whose lone losses are to the number 1 team in the country, South Dakota State, who they led and blew that game because the Jacks are just so dang good. And then to Arizona, who they should have beat, but coaching miscues cost them. That's going to be a banger. And then you have William and Mary traveling to Bozeman on Friday night. That game's on ESPN too, right after the NDSU one. You've got to watch that. William and Mary. Darius Wilson, I can't speak highly enough about him. I think they're going to beat Montana State. And then you have Incarnate Word Sac State, which I don't know why this game is on ESPN Plus. The Lindsey Scott Show, RG3, dude, we need to commentate this game by ourselves, I guess. This game should not be on ESPN Plus.
This is gonna be such a fun slate. Just because like people come and be like, oh, NDSU is just gonna roll over everything because that's what they do. They're the Alabama of the FCS, right? No, NDSU, like they're still good. Respect NDSU. There's legit teams, people. Pay attention, open your eyes, find a ESPN Plus login somehow. Like it's a free trial for like 7 days or something. And then
Is it really?
I want to say it is. But Incarnate Word Sac State is gonna be so awesome. Also, I fear for William and Mary because it's cold where they come from. But like I'm looking at right now, it says it's 19 degrees. And then probably throw in some wind chill or something. Let's just say it's 15. William and Mary's just gonna be out there dying.
Why were Weber State dudes like struggling with the snow? Like there were dudes following all the time.
That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
It's like snow. It was like almost as if they were playing on ice field. I don't know. On Saturday though, national television, ESPN, Holy Cross, who's undefeated this year, had the Holy Hail Mary to beat Buffalo. They're playing South Dakota State, who should have beat Iowa if Tucker Kraft didn't get hurt, if Mark Gronowski didn't get hurt, if all these dudes didn't get hurt during their game. I think they beat Iowa. They're the best team in the FCS. You get a chance to watch a very quality team there that dismantled a really good Delaware team that beat Navy this year. I don't know, man. You have a lot of quality football watch, and then we'll get to see who's in the Final Four. It's going to be fun stuff. I know FCS ain't for everyone. There's other stuff to talk about. I promise. Bowl games are out.
Yes.
Bowl season.
Let's just throw out stuff about bowl season. I don't want to talk about. I'm sorry, we ain't talking NY6. Who cares about that? I want to talk about the fun stuff like the Gator Bowl where Notre Dame and South Carolina are playing. That is an elite match.
Troy versus UTSA, elite matchup.
Troy versus UTSA is going to be amazing.
Cameron Ward. No, I'm sorry. I know it's the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, which stinks. But Cameron Ward versus Jake Hader. Washington State versus Fresno State.
That might be my favorite bowl matchup of the season. The duel that Ward and Hader are going to have. Pending everyone playing, I know upsets are going to happen. Don't call us idiots if you're watching this on like December 19th. That's not our fault. That game's going to be so good. And don't be sorry that it's the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. Be happy. Be happy it happened. Be happy that Jimmy Kimmel is the mascot for that bowl game. And he threw up last year. And I can't wait to see the theatrics that Jimmy Kimmel has this year.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Las Vegas Bowl where Oregon State beats Florida. That's going to be a great game.
That game is so weird. That's such a weird matchup, but I love it so much.
I can't get the Musburger commercial out of my head. That happens every second, I swear. I don't know if it's local commercializing.
It's local. That's local.
Really?
I've seen it. Like I saw it on social media somewhere, but like it's local.
That's interesting. That happens like every commercial break. But Florida Oregon State's going to be outstanding.
Yeah. Just real quick in the Jimmy. Kimmel Bowl. I know we're gonna hype up the quarterbacks. These defenses are like sneakily really like they're good. Yeah. So like people who are gonna be like, oh, let's bet the over because it's two great quarterbacks. I don't know, man. This might be more like it's gonna be a well played like 24-21 type game.
I was feeling like 27-24.
Yeah.
The game-winning field goal hits Jimmy Campbell in the face.
But what about the Myrtle Beach Bowl?
The Myrtle Beach Bowl, I mean, I don't know. It's fun. Like, I just don't know how much UConn's going to score.
We're
Who
just
doesn't
gonna
want
be
to see UConn versus Marshall?
we're gonna be sad seeing the teal turf and be like, oh yeah, that's where Jamie Chad will coach. Oh, that's where Grayson will call. Like, oh, even I don't know anything about Grayson. Like, we're just assuming Grayson
I assume he's
follows, but
going
who
to
knows?
Liberty. I want him in the NFL so bad, but what can you do? We're gonna watch what I like. We're talking about defense going to be a key in the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Marshall's defense is so good. Depending on dudes staying and not opting out, oh my! I fear for UConn's offense having to go up against Mike Abraham and and Stephen Gilmore. That's going to be tough. This could be like a 16-9 game.
The Holiday Bowl also intrigues me. North Carolina versus Oregon. It's a weird matchup, but
There might be 140 points scored there.
yeah, there might be.
You know what game is gonna put up a bunch of points? It's gonna be the Military Bowl between UCF and that crazy running offense and Duke. Because Duke has
I like
Skinner.
that.
That game might be a sneaky. You're just kind of like chugging along and you look at the score. It's like, hey, why is it in the high 30s and we're still early in the third quarter? Not saying it's gonna be that crazy, but like these are fun offenses.
I'm surprised that UCF's a 4-point favorite there. I like Duke as an outright dog. I think they're the better team.
It's we have the AutoZone Liberty Bowl pronunciation bowl between Kansas and Arkansas or Arkansas.
It's just Kansas. It should just be the Arkansas Bowl. OUR, the Our Kansas Bowl.
That's
Yes.
that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be so much fun. And I mean, like, shout to Kansas, bowl eligible. Like they kind of faded a little bit, but hey, they got there. That's all that matters.
I am kind of excited for the Music City Bowl, Kentucky versus Iowa. Iowa's down 2 quarterbacks, so that should always be good going to bowl
They've
season.
been down 2 quarterbacks all year.
It's a good point, but
That game is sick. Like
That game's gonna be so weird.
I don't know. I don't know. 12-11 final score. Let's go.
And the thing is, there's no like, because they played last year, or was it 2 years ago? Whatever.
Last year.
Last year, yeah. That's at least Kentucky had Wandale Robinson, and he like had ridiculous plays. But like, there's no one. There's no one in this game who stands
Brown,
out.
I like.
Yeah, but there's no one like an explosive guy.
I think one of the big storylines too that's getting overlooked. Kyle Van Treese is facing his former Buffalo Bulls, Georgia Southern, Buffalo, in the Camellia Bowl.
give me Buffalo.
I don't know. That one's gonna be fun.
That one's a toss-up for me.
We've got there's two bowls that have cheese in it.
That's weird.
This is just the Cheez-It Bowl. This is the former Blue Bloods Bowl. This is Oklahoma and Florida State. I mean, Florida State's kind of on the come up. I have no idea what Oklahoma's gonna do right now. I feel like this might just be a dip, but who knows? This might be the beginning of them turning into what Florida State was the past few years. But that one's gonna be.
What if, like, I know it's not gonna happen, but I sat on a podcast like 2 months ago and I just like thinking about what if Oklahoma goes to the SEC and then they're just Vanderbilt.
No, because at least Vanderbilt's smart.
Just Vanderbilt.
Dude, you're taking
Vanderbilt,
shots on them?
Vanderbilt does things. I'm sorry, Oklahoma, but like it's Vanderbilt. Hey, Liam, I'd like to hear you talk about the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, please.
Okay, I am also very surprised that Florida State's only a 1-point favorite. I don't get that. I don't get that. The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl is truly one of the best bowl games that there is. I just talk about Jimmy Campbell in such a great way, but dude, we have Tony the Tiger animated and in person. This is the good stuff. The issue here is we know what Rose Bowl attendance is like for UCLA fans. We can't overlook the home attendance for Pitt football games as well when they're not too good. Neither of these fan bases travel all that well. They might have to give away about 10,000 free tickets for this game, or else I don't know who's showing up to it.
Dude, start sending emails.
We might have to. I genuinely don't know who will be showing up for the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. These are two of the worst traveling fan bases in the country, and then you have to factor in how many opt-outs both teams are going to have. Dorian is probably not going to play for UCLA. Charbonnet is probably not going to play for UCLA. Their kicker / punter, Mr. Barmira, already hit the transfer portal. This is going to be a bizarre game.
Or the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
That one is super sick. That is an ugly matchup.
Mike Loxley said, "I'm not opposed to being having mayo dumped all over me." So that is good.
Yeah, so I'm picking Maryland outright 100% because Loxley said that, because he's a big hat wearer. He wore one like the summer. I don't know how he beat the craze, but I just thought NC State's overrated all year. I don't know. I'm on that train. I think the Alamo Bowl, though, is a banger. Washington, Texas is the Alamo Bowl, year in, year out, is like my favorite game. It's so good.
I would just like to say, when RG3 won his Heisman, he played in the Alamo Bowl versus Washington, and that was a Washington team with a really good offense. And I think I'm a Washington fan. We scored 40-something points, but we gave up 60-something. I feel like that's going to be the same thing with this Texas team. Our defense isn't good.
Dude, I feel like
Our defense
Washington's going to win like 56-49.
Like, it's going to depend on the opt-outs, but like,
yeah,
I can see Quinn Ewers just like dotting us up for $9 million. Okay, realistically, I can see him putting up 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, kind of thing.
If Penix plays, if he plays, I think he could throw for 600.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a crazy game. But
I think he could throw for 650.
Yeah.
Oh, what doesn't excite you about Middle Tennessee, San Diego State?
Ew.
Everything doesn't excite me. I'm good off the Hawaii Bowl. I'd rather talk about the Quick Lane Bowl, New Mexico State Bowling Green.
The Quick Lane Bowl. I've got tickets to it. Just saying.
Just saying, man.
Just a little spoiler for people. We have we're recording this on Sunday evening. Tomorrow night or Monday evening, we have a bowl draft where we're gonna like draft bowls that we're gonna write about for our bowl previews. That's all I'm gonna say about this bowl game.
I want the Quick Lane Bowl.
That thing is gonna be so undesirable. I want, like, let's be honest though. Like, let's do this. First off, the worst game, the game that you're looking the least forward to. Let's hear that. Or should I give you guys time and I just tell you mine?
I have a few. Go ahead.
Okay. I am not looking forward to the atrocity that will be the Wisconsin-Oklahoma State game. I think that game is so ugly. That game is disgusting.
Are you saying what game we don't want to watch, or what game we don't want to write about?
Well, I'll be watching all of them in full, but what game disgusts you the most? What matchup you hate the most? I think Wisconsin-Oklahoma State is just a vile matchup.
It's tough. For me, Missouri versus Wake Forest. That game does not excite me.
All right, I got it. I got this. I want to say this was last year. I said Wyoming's offense was really boring and disgusting, and then they dropped like 50-something points on Kent State, and like they were running the ball all day. It was like really fun. I don't care that I was burned last year. The Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl between Ohio with backup quarterback and Wyoming with that really boring offense. I don't care what they did last year. Your quarterback transferred and went to Montana State. I don't care. That game is going to be so bad. I don't care. I don't care if Wyoming goes out and runs for like another 1,000,000 yards and like makes me look foolish. That doesn't excite me.
Titus Swen isn't on the team anymore. Their star running back, their best player's not on the team anymore.
You know what game does excite me though?
What's your top game?
Illinois versus Mississippi State.
Really?
Listen, Mike Leach in a stadium with an actual pirate ship is going to be peak content.
That I didn't think of that. I never thought of that. He might have to coach the game from the pirate ship.
Yeah.
Like Hugh Freeze coached it when he was up in the hospital bed. You put Mike Leach, you set him up in the pirate ship for at least the third quarter.
Yeah. Do you like an interview like right before halftime? You get an interview from the pirate ship.
If he wears an eye patch, he's got at some point in that bowl week he has to show up to a media thing in an eye patch. He just has to. A game I like the Oregon UNC game. I think is going to be super fun, but I don't want to say. Oh man, I don't know what to go with. I think it's the Alamo Bowl. The Alamo Bowl, I just have there's just a soft spot in my heart for it. It delivers every year. There's points galore, crazy comebacks, outstanding performances. The end zones are always cool. The dome in San Antonio is so sick. It's such a great atmosphere. Washington, Texas is going to be truly tremendous. There's going to be 193 points.
My favorite bowl, it might not be the best game played. I feel like there are other games that will be more entertaining than this, but this is the Motivation Bowl. This is the Sugar Bowl. This is the Sugar Bowl between Alabama and Kansas State. Because we know Kansas State's going to be up for this game. You're playing Alabama. You're Kansas State. Like, I know you're number 9 in the rankings and in college football playoff rankings and whatever. I know you had a really good year. But historically, Kansas State hasn't been a blue blood ever. You're going up against Alabama. Is Alabama going to be motivated to play this game at all?
No.
Will there be opt-outs? Probably. And even if there are opt-outs, they're still Alabama. They still have talent. And just looking back, this smells like when Utah beat up Alabama in the Sugar Bowl back in 20, whatever that was. It just smells like that, where it's like, you're going to have the one team come in. They're going to be really motivated, and they're going to be a really good team. And on the other side, you have Alabama like, why are we here? We don't want to be here. And then Kansas State might roll them. I'm not. Yeah. They probably won't. It'll be probably a little closer, but I'm excited just to see like Kansas State just be so excited and Alabama just like
Yeah, it is fascinating because like a lot of dudes that are going to play on Alabama do have a lot to prove. We don't know what the future holds at quarterback for Alabama, right? We know Bryce Young's as good as gone. We know that. Is this an audition for Jalen Milroe, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, the way he played, he's gonna run all over the place, but Duke can't throw. Duke can't pass. I'm sorry.
He can't. He has so much work. He has so much work.
Prove me wrong, man. Again, I don't root against players, but dude can't pass. He's gonna throw for 300 yards now. Just watch.
Can we put that on a shirt and it's just Will Levis's face?
Oh man. Okay, I lied. I do. I lied. I do kind of root against players sometimes.
Dude. Okay, I also have to say this. As a ginger, the Orange Bowl, look, I should be like the honorary coin flip captain for this game. It's Clemson, it's Tennessee, it's the Orange Bowl. There ain't a bigger college football fan that's orange like me. This is the Liam Blutman Bowl, straight up.
And shouldn't you out there in like an orange suit, just to really like.
Don't put that out there. I don't want to go in an orange suit, but I should be a coin flipper, maybe in an orange tuxedo.
Yeah, an orange tuxedo. Yeah, like an orange bow tie. Yes.
Like Capital One Orange Bowl. What's up? December 30th. I'm ready.
How do you feel about How do you feel about an orange top hat?
I could do it. You lose the flow though, and that's an issue. That's an issue.
Oh, that's true. Can't be losing the flow.
Can't lose the flow. We'll get out of here real quickly though. Coaching Deion Sanders, primetime Colorado. We kind of knew that was happening. Any thoughts on that, or do you want to give thoughts to a different coaching hire?
I think Deion to Colorado is going to be awesome. I mean, they've already picked up a 5-star commitment from the 2025 class. And I saw when we had our little break in between segments, there was a bunch of kids tweeting out like in the portal Colorado offers. So he seems to be very active. I think he's the breath of fresh air in the program they kind of needed. Like Mel Tucker was that, and then he up and left to Michigan State. So I think Deion's going to be the one to do it. They'll bring them back to like at least top 20, maybe low top 25 ranking.
It feels like such a weird fit to me. It just seems so weird. Like, I get it. They're probably paying him a good amount. And, like, it's a Power 5 job compared to, like, he was linked to, like, North Texas, who just fired Seth Luttrell, or USF. Yeah, USF. I almost said UCF. and then the other places he was linked to. But I can see it, and he's such a personality that he'll bring in recruits and at least raise the floor for Colorado. There are still talks about how Colorado's the higher ups and everything kind of still think it's the 90s, and they treat everything like the 90s back when they were good, and you cannot be like that. You have to be current present day if you're going to be up and you're going to be a baseline good program in college football in a Power 5 conference. But then again, I was harping on fit. Fit doesn't really matter because, again, like Nick Saban, he's from West Virginia. Jimbo, that can be debated, but whatever. Brian Kelly, well, he's done at LSU. He's not from the South at all.
What? His accent, though.
Oh my gosh. I mean, he tried.
This is a family.
But yeah, like
this is a family.
Exactly. But like fit is the thing, but it isn't really a thing. And
not the end all be all.
Yeah, end all be all. And how is he as an X's and O's coach? I don't know. But can he out talent people like he did at Jackson State, bringing all these former D1 dudes down and then bringing up his son and getting Travis Hunter and all these guys? I don't know, but if anything, the content is going to be spectacular, and I am all for that. And you know what? As someone who's not invested in Colorado, that's good enough for me. Let's watch Colorado just pump out the insanity.
The content's all right, good. We saw him, all the Colorado, the Twitter account was tweeting out last night, and we saw him like shivering on the field at night, which is just kind of funny and stuff. But I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I love the hire. I really do. I think they hit a grand slam. This is a guy that can recruit whoever he wants. He truly can. But how long is he there is the issue. Like, this isn't a long-term thing. If he wins 6 games this year, how many top programs that have a vacant spot are looking to make an upgrade? They're going for a guy that takes this garbage situation at Colorado and gets into a bowl game ASAP. They're looking for that. They already have a stud at quarterback in Deion Sanders. He's a dog. I don't know where Travis Hunter is going to transfer. I know he's going to transfer. He ain't staying at Jackson State. We know that. I know he's going to keep things open. Is he going to Colorado? At the end of the day, I think he is, because I know he's going to be able to go wherever he wants, just like he was out of high school. But I think he's going to go Colorado, because at the end of the day, Deion is teaching something, and that's how to be a truly special corner. And that's not something that many people could offer. Deion's been there, not just being a cornerback, the receiver skills too, and just how to, the flashiness and the prime time. Like, he gets to offer so much more than just good coaching advice. And he's given good life advice. He's given good money management advice for when you're in the league. All this NFL advice he's able to give. He brings so much to the table aside from X's and O's, and he could get whoever he wants to do the X's and O's. He is a dang good football coach, a motivator, a preacher. Like, he's the guy. And I think I hear one thing that I came into this podcast wanting to touch on. I thought that there's so much hatred for Deion for leaving and like ditching an HBCU, and that just isn't the case. This guy was at Jackson State, and it seems like just yesterday we saw him getting introduced in the basketball gym at Jackson State, and we were all taken aback, like, Deion Sanders is the head coach of Jackson State. Like, this is happening. This is insane. He had such a successful tenure at Jackson State, and not just at Jackson State, but for all HBCUs. And to see people turn their back on him just because he went to Colorado, which was a great opportunity for him as he's trying to truly, like, just become the best coach he could be. I don't understand why they're saying hate for Deion. What he did for HBCUs in general, not just HBCU football, but for HBCUs in general these last few years have been tremendous. This is a guy that got College Game Day to come to Jackson State, to go to an HBCU. The Sonic Boom of the South was playing on ESPN. Like what he's been able, he got the #1 recruit in the country to go to Jackson State, to go to an HBCU. He has done things that nobody has been able to do at HBCUs in how many years? There should be no hate for Deion. There shouldn't be HBCU fans wishing failure on Deion at the next level. That doesn't make sense. He wasn't always going to stay at Jackson State. We knew it wasn't forever. I don't understand any hate for him. I really don't. All that he did for HBCUs in general is truly amazing, and it's something that 99.99999. Why even give a percentage? It's something that truly takes a one of one dude to do, because there ain't any dude. I don't know. Like Deion was the one guy to go and do this at an HBCU and produce like he did and give them the platform that they deserved. Other guys have the opportunity for that, and they ain't taking it, and they're not trying. He was not in a good position. Jackson State was in an awful position when he took that job, and look where it is today. Why are we hating on that guy? Why can't we wish success his way? I don't know what his coaching future holds. I don't know if he'll be the Florida State head coach one day or if he'll hold the grudge because he didn't get the job a few years ago and he'll want to prove him wrong in some way. But this guy is going to be at the top of the sport. People saying that he's not going to be able to get recruits to come to Boulder, and the people are like, they're nuts. Like, dude, oh yeah, Boulder's not Denver. That's what people think that he's going to be. What? He got Travis Hunter to go to Jackson, Mississippi. He got any high-quality transfer, Malachi Wideman, to go play basketball and football at Jackson State. He could get whoever he wants at Colorado. We already saw that with whoever the five-star kid is that signed. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Winston Watkins.
Watkins. Heck, is he even going to be at Colorado in 2 years? Because he's class of 2025, right? Or something.
Yeah.
Is he going to be in Colorado? Probably not, because Deion's not going to be there. But, dude.
One thing I wanted to add was did you see what Colorado's athletic director said about the Deion hire? So some reporter asked them, they were like, where's the money coming from for this hire? And he said, I don't know. I just know we'll get it from somewhere.
This is so good for Colorado. I don't like. It's so good for Colorado. We could always say it's fun when USC's at the top. It's fun when Alabama's at the top, or when West Virginia's really good. Tennessee, blah blah blah. It's fun when Colorado's really good too. It's fun when they're really bad. Colorado's a fun football program for at least this year. Deion there, gonna be amazing.
I'm not going to let it slide that Liam just threw West Virginia in there with the likes of Alabama and USC.
I don't know.
That was the
Tennessee,
wildest thing I have heard
I was thinking of
in college football.
I was thinking of
ever.
Pat White. I was thinking of Pat White and how fun those teams were when West Virginia was at the top of the sport. And sure, Geno and Tavon Austin and Steve Slayton and Noel Devine and Owen Schmidt. When West
Do you hear the Alabama fans?
Top,
Liam
Blutman
says that West Virginia is the same program that Alabama is in football.
I got more.
Clip that and send it.
Dude, it's fun when Youngstown State's at the top in the FCS.
Okay, that's fair. We love our Penguins.
We love our Penguins.
Just to close it out, I will say that it will be really funny, though, when Colorado opens their season at home after going on the road to TCU. They open their home slate, and Matt Rule and Nebraska beats them by 21.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't love the Rule hire. I love the Deion hire. Again, he might be there for 12 games, but it doesn't matter. His impact could be felt so early.
How long until Hugh Freeze gets let go at Auburn?
Dude, see, that's the thing too, is I never understood.
Deion to Auburn. You
could question Deion for his in-game coaching and stuff. I don't care. I think he does a fine job at it. I think his players too, their characters are so high and they go about themselves in such great ways. I love that. I love how Shedeur speaks in his interviews, as does Travis Hunter does an excellent job. But dude, why Deion's final three was Cincinnati, South Florida, and Colorado never made any sense to me. Auburn had an opening and they should have been handing Deion a blank check. Hugh Freeze is such a lame hire. I don't know. Like, there's
Hey,
other
but
programs where I'm straight up firing my dude if it means I have. I'm straight up firing the head coach I have if I don't think he can get us to the heights that Deion could in a year.
Greg Schiano, fired.
I'm not going to name
It's-
names, but
it's Auburn. The War Eagle. I love Auburn, the chaos they bring, but that chaos is just so in the walls, man. So, but when Deion takes over in 2025 and Auburn starts on the up and up, that'll be cool. So,
bold
shout out to
prediction: Deion Sanders will never be the head coach of Auburn.
I agree.
I'll say it. He's gonna be there. He'll be there.
No, they blew it. They should have had him or Kiffin. They blew and they got Hugh Freeze for who knows how long. I hate that hire. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Keep Hugh Freeze off the internet and away from microphones.
Alex Golesh is also a potential home run hire for South Florida. I do worry for Golesh though. That's a tough job. And I know we got a gap on
That's
the out
such
here.
a tough job.
That's a tough job. I hope he hits a grand slam there, and it's a stepping stone though. Let's be honest. If he has two good years there, he's out. Also, Texas State made a splash. I thought they had a really good hire.
Please help me because I always keep pronouncing the guy's last name. How do you say his last name?
It's just Kinney.
Is it Kinney? Because I thought it's just
That's just Kinney.
No, because
It's Kinney.
Is it Kinney? Okay, because it's like the spelling. Because I always thought there's supposed to be an extra I or something. I was always afraid to say it out loud because I've been watching this guy for a long time, and when he converted to a wide receiver, I made him a really good wide receiver in Madden on the Eagles for some reason. It was, hey man, dude was a good athlete, and I was gonna be the head coach at Texas State, and he will at least recruit Texas. He will at least recruit and not just hit the transfer portal.
That's all that they could ask for. I really like that hire for them. I wish we could have seen Kinney at Tulsa, but I'm not mad. I know that this is, again, a stepping stone for him, though, and we'll see where he is after Texas State. And yeah, it's time to wrap this up. Golly. Thank y'all for watching and listening. Please make sure to like and subscribe, comment below on YouTube, follow us, leave 5-star ratings on Apple and Spotify, all that stuff. Thank you so much. John, first pod out here. Claps, claps, claps. Best performance of championship weekend. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
Go Navy, beat Army.
Oh.
Crazy talk.